How's it going, guys? Thanks for joining. Wow, we've got quite a few people in today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. So who we got in chat? We've got Tracy. Hi, Tracy. Thanks for joining. We've got Neil. Thank you, Neil. Thanks for joining. We've got Jay. Thanks for joining, mate. Hope you're feeling a bit better now. Who else? We've got Steve. How we doing, Steve? How we doing, mate? I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes just in case somebody jumps in. Dave, how we doing, bud? Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. How's your guys' days been? What you vaping on? What you drinking? Oh, new one. Helder, appreciate you joining. Thanks for coming all the way from Portugal. Appreciate it. Aussie Vapor as well, yes. Appreciate you dropping in, mate. Missed you there. So thanks for joining, guys. Welcome to episode 11. So looking at two screens, what I can see on my phone and also my computer. Okay, so if I'm not looking directly at the camera all the time, I do apologize. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat. So my little buffet that I've got currently at the moment is the Tesla Invader 2/3 in dual mode with the Blotto. Hanky Panky, how we doing? Thanks for joining, buddy. So we've got that. And also still rocking the Descendant with the D Pro. So let's have a look. Let's get everything proper. So in the Blotto, currently have this Dark Stars Labs that was out many months ago that hasn't made a return. For a nice flavour, I love it because it's really, really mild as well. So anybody who knows me knows I don't like ice flavours, but that is very light. I love it. West Yorkshire, Helder. That's where I'm streaming from, West Yorkshire. And then in the D Pro, I do have this juice that I can't talk about, my G14 classified juice. It is a dessert flavour, but I cannot talk about it. And that's what I've got in here as well. So you might like this. It's got a bit of a crackle, that. So whoever likes your crackle. And that's just tasty, that. With a nice little bit of a crackle, so whoever likes a crackle. That's a bit of a crackle there. So that's what I'm currently vaping on. get rid of that. So guys, welcome. So if you're new here, what we do is we have a drink. As you can see, I've got a drink there. I do have 2 drinks, but I have one still in the fridge. What we're going to do is we're going to make some coils from scratch. So how the format of the stream goes is show you what I'm going to be building on, the RDA that I'm going to be building on. It will be an RDA that I'm building on. We'll get some coils built today from scratch, and then I'll choose a device for it to go on. I've already chosen it, but I wait until after the coil build before I reveal it, but it is a mech mod. So we've got quite a few people in today, and I really do appreciate it because I know my stream conflicts with 2 other streams that is a bit more popular than mine. Let's have a look. Yeah, all chatting nicely. Perfect. Really appreciate it, guys. I love you guys. So first drink I've got is from City Vault. It is jungle juice sour beer. Now me, I'm not a big beer drinker on a 6%. I'm not a big beer drinker, but I do like a sour. My preferred is a stout. So if you catch my other streams, you know I have a stout. So it's a 6%. Oh, blimey. That writing is way too small for my eyes. But it looks like it's a tropical fruit, jungle juice. So if anybody's ever vaped a jungle juice, probably it's more or less the same thing. But as you can see on there, there's loads of fruits on there. 10 people. Love, guys. I appreciate it. So let's crack a beer open. I've got my glass. It's nice and ice cold. It's been in the freezer. Just my glass, nothing special. That's also been in the freezer too. Oh, that actually smells quite good. So let's go in for the pour. Oh, it looks nice and thick, that. Nice and thick. So guys, whoever's watching live, cheers guys. And hashtag replay crew, cheers to you too. Oh, I won't put it that way. You might eat me for breakfast, Hanky Panky. So, cheers, guys. It is. It's very thick, actually, Steve. Very thick. Anyway, let's have a quick drink. Cheers, guys. Oh wow, that is like just a tropical juice with a nice sour. It's not as sour as I like, but definitely sour. So I'm going to pair it with this one that's got the ice melonade, fruit flavors. Melonade will probably go well. Let's have a nice pairing. Let's pair it. I don't know if it's going to be nice yet. Let's pair it. Oh wow, that is nice. This juice brings out the sourness in this. It's made it a bit more sour. Wow, that is an absolute delicious one. Very thick, very fruity, slightly a bit not as sour as I was expecting, or sour as I've tried in the past, but with that ice melonade, doesn't have to bring out that sourness. That is absolutely gorgeous. So guys, let's get started. So I'm working with one camera at the moment, so there will be camera moving until I get a better setup. That's what I'm working with. One camera, which is my phone. So guys, let's get adjusted and get going. Seeing as that there's plenty of you here, and like I say, I really do appreciate it, guys. So let's move you across to here and see me a bit better. Adjust my camera view. Can't talk and I've only had a couple of sips. There we are. That's a bit better. And then just put this down so you can see me a bit better. That is perfect. Excuse the mess in the back. It's my room. So that's how it goes. Boy, that beer's whacked me. Those couple of sips. So apologise if I don't see all your comments, but I'll try and catch up with them. So let's get going. So the RDA that I will be building is here. I keep them all in these pop tubs. So if you're new and you've got a lot of stuff, might be a good idea for you. Keeps them nice and clean and dust free. So let's move you down just a tad so you can see me. I ain't got time, otherwise this stream's going to be forever. So the RDA that I'm going to be doing is the Royal Hunter X. Now, I never owned the OG Royal Hunter. I did try it, and frankly, I didn't like it, the OG Royal Hunter. But I did get this. This was cheap. Can't mention where I got it or where you can get it, otherwise YouTube will have my ass. But it's a 25mm, and that is the underneath. How's it going, Vaping Bic? Thanks for joining, mate. Appreciate it. So that's the underneath. This is an authentic, it isn't a clone. Nice protruding pin there. Drip tip, proprietary drip tip on this one. It's not an 810. That's probably the only thing I do not like about this, is the drip tip. It does come with a 510 drip tip adapter, but I don't normally show what's in the box. I love the design actually on this. And that's that. So let's have a look. So this, that is very girthy. So that's your build deck on there. So as you can see, it's a bit goonish, obviously, with your thingy. So you can actually mount your coils at the top or through those post holes there. And as you can see, the posts are slightly curved. So there we are. So you get your normal things in the box, you know, 510 drip tip adapter, extra O-rings. Can't remember if it came with a squonk pin, but if it does, it'll be in there. Your normal Barbie screwdriver and stuff like that. Juice well, not that deep, but not that shallow either. So that's what we're working with. I love these post screws because you can undo them by hand because they've got a bit of perforation at the top. Like that. And that's the deck on there. Like I say, drip tip, proprietary drip tip on there, so you can't put your 510 drip tips in there. There's no O-ring on the inside, and there's an O-ring on there. So vaping Bic, hope you're drinking something nice. This is what I'm currently drinking, or what I'm starting off with is a Jungle Juice Sour, 6%. So I hope everybody's got something nice to drink. So as I can say, look, dual airflow, and with it as well, you can also rung it. Talking a load of gibberish already. So you can run it in dual coil or single coil, but today I will be running it in dual coil. So that's that. Yeah, I saw your picture on my post on Facebook. I can't even read the description of what mine is. Writing's too small, and I'll end up having to get my binoculars out. So that's the RDA that I'm going to be building on. So coil, I want to build a staggered fused Clapton. So we'll see how that goes. So let me get my stuff all set up. I'll leave that on there, ready. Trying to keep good to see you all talking and shit. So that's what we're building on. So staggered fused Clapton. So let me get set up. So I like to have everything eyes length. I will be bringing you in a bit closer so you can obviously see what I'm doing, stuff that I'm using. So if you're watching and you're just curious, or you're getting into building coils, obviously this is a good stream. Or even if you're curious, I know some of you use your pre-made coils, and that's good. So there is Dave in the thing. He actually makes coils for a living, so go check him out. Go check Vaping Bic out as well. Go subscribe to his channel. Steve as well. He has a Craig Pad. Welcome, mate. Appreciate you coming. Go check his YouTube channel out. He's got his as well. So go check those people out as well. Good people as well. Some of them won't need any introduction, obviously. So we'll go there. So I'm just going to put that on there. I do have this table that I've chopped down, just so when I'm building, I've got stuff at eyes length. It's better for me. You're on Dr. Pepper, are you? Yes, I did see that Vaping Bic. Did see that. Got some coils. Like I say, he's a coil maker, so you can buy your pre-made coils from Dave as well. Or like I say, if you're getting interested into making your own coils as well, obviously this stream will hopefully be better for you. So I use this. This is just a Daedalus Pro drill that I used. I used to use this, but I don't use it anymore because it's taking the fun out of coil making for me. So I do it the proper, more or less the old way. But if you've got a cordless drill, you can use that as long as it's got forward and reverse, or a wired drill, as like I said, as long as it's got forward and reverse. So I use this clamp that I got from Screwfix, or the other one, Tool Station, I can never remember, but I use that just to clamp my drill down. Exactly, yeah. So I'm going to lock that down. That just keeps everything nice and tight for me, so nothing moves around here. I do have a swivel. That is mounted on a bench vise, piece of wood. I've got some swivels on here that also came with the Daedalus Pro kit, but you can buy these online or a fishing tackle shop. Always go for the ball bearing ones because they're the best you can use. He does that to me, Dave. He keeps sending me nudes. He thinks I like it, but I don't. Yeah, I used to buy wire from Crazy Wire, but my last purchase as well, Tracy, I had to actually have a talk with somebody in the office. They're not replenishing the stock there for wire. That's why there's some that's not available. But I do have extra, but I've also started buying off Stealth Vape as well. So as I said here, ball bearing swivels, keep it ball bearing swivels. You can get them from a fishing tackle shop, but don't go for the cheap ones because they will just mess up on you. So that's my swivel. So like I say, I'm going to do a staggered fuse Clapton. I'm going to be using 24 gauge for my core. And this is also, as you can say, Tracy, this is from the Crazy Wire company. So I'm going to be using 24 gauge for my core and 36 NI80 for my staggered and my final wrap as well. Of 400 bottles. That's that job lot you got in it, Steve. So a couple of tools that I will need in this process is this. I will be using my core holder, but at the moment I will be straightening my wire. So I'm going to get two pieces of 24 gauge. What I would normally do is I would just do one long piece. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two separate pieces and stagger them just to be on the safe side. So I'm going to pull about 30 centimeters, 300 millimeters. That's what, is it 12 inches, 8 inches for people that don't work with this system? So I'm going to be pulling off like this, holding like that. Normally I would pull and stretch, but Kenthal is a slightly thicker wire and I don't want to look a complete idiot on the live stream doing it. So I'll just straighten it up with my drill. So if anybody's thinking how to straighten the wire, because obviously it's curved like that off a spool, I'll show you very, very quickly. So I'm going to pull off another 30 centimeters, 300 millimeters, and so many inches. So you're probably wondering why I'm using so much wire. I like extra wire to play with, obviously with my chuck. Yeah, but how do you know I'm talking about the wire, Steve? So, like I say, I've got two pieces of wire. So the way I straighten it is put it into your chuck of your drill like that and pull. So you've got your piece like that. Grab your pliers, and just with light pressure give your drill a spin. There we are. And it's still going. It came out. So there's a straight piece of Kenthal, and I'll do exactly the same with the other one. Same again, load it into your drill, center of your drill. Yeah, he's just being himself, isn't he, Bick? So I'm going to do that. That's not working. So let me just pull that there so I can use my nutcracker, which is what I use, just to tighten it. So this is what I use, just this nutcracker. Get it on there, give it a little tight. And again, not your cutters. So your pliers, give it a little gentle tug and it'll straighten up like that. So if you've got a kink in the end just here, so as you can see there's a little kink in there, not to worry, put your pliers before the kink, light pressure, set your drill going as again and just slide your pliers across and it will take that kink out more or less. So that's me, 2 wires that I'm using. Trying to keep an eye on chat as well so I don't miss anything. So I've got my 2 straight pieces of 24 gauge. So this is what I normally use, this core holder from Friendly Coil Factory. So I'm just going to load that in. Yeah, always use an at. So that's what I'm using, my core holder just there. I'm just going to move this a bit back because I like it round about there. And then I'm going to lock that in so it's nice and straight. So there's 2 ways that I do the staggered part. One is a button method and 2 is just a clamp method. So you've seen me use the bigger clamp obviously to stretch my alien decals. This is the smaller one. I will be using this today to do both my wires. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load my first wire in there. I haven't got these out. You will see me using these because I am blind. Because I am blind and I can get a better view of what I'm seeing as well. It's getting warm. I don't know if it's warm where you guys are, but it is warm here. So I'm going to load it into my core holder. There is a little divot in the center so it sits nice and center. So I'm just going to quickly load that in. Like I say, I like extra wire because I like obviously to play, and if I need to cut any off, I've got plenty as well, and I don't lose wire obviously when I am cutting bits off or if I have to cut stuff off. So I'm going to load it into my swivel. I'm going to put a little L in there. So this is why I like extra wire as well, so I've got wire to play with. So I'm going to load it into my swivel just here, and I've got some other pieces on there. Using tension, pulling away from the drill, and then I'm going to put that on and then wrap around to lock it in. Right. These are annoying me, these little bits here. Let's see if I can just quickly pull them off. So that's one there, and that's a bit better. So load it in, twist it round like that. Then I'm going to pull my swivel nice and tight and then lock that in. So I've got a bit of tension there, not too much. Any questions, feel free to ask. Like I say, I am sweating. Which is not good. So my 36 gauge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load me 36 gauge in there and do a few wraps to get going. Hey, Hanky Panky is very frisky. There's nothing wrong with that. At least he's upfront about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop the end in here just to lock something in. So with this, it doesn't matter which way your drill is turning, it's all the same way. So whichever way you prefer to wrap, obviously do it that way. So I'm just going to pop that in there, get a few wraps going just to lock it in. And then I'm also going to do sort of like a couple of staggareds there as well. So I'm just going to lock that off and then I'll bring you in close so you can obviously see what I'm doing. Where's the end of this? There we are. So let me just bring you in a little close. I do need a piece of 36 gauge, which I will use. I've got a bit of Kenthal, which I will use for this part. So let me get you in close there. Lock in some. There we are. So you won't be able to see it perfectly, but I will get you in a bit close once I'm set up. So I'm just using some leftover 36 gauge that I have in Kenthal that I use for this sort of thing. So I'm just going to pull off about one turn of the spool. That way I've got extra and I can play around with it just in case anything happens. It is a live stream, so something will probably happen. So what I'm going to be doing with this piece here is I'm going to be looping it around twice in between these little bits here. And then I'll be locking it down, obviously, with my clip. So another way to do it is obviously the button method. If you do it the button method, so what I'm going to do is very carefully, I'm going to put this wire in between one of the staggered pieces and then wrap around twice like that. So let's get you in just slightly bit better than that. And will that focus a bit better? Let me do that, see if it focuses a bit better. There we are. Do I need to be a bit closer? Whoops. Nearly dropped stuff then. There we are. Does that work a bit better? Come on, camera. Get in there. There we are. So I've got my wire in between two wraps over the loop. And then I'm going to use my clamp just here, or I'm going to try and use my clamp just here. And then I'm going to push it as close as I can to the top and lock it in like that. Now, what I want to do also is to make sure that the wraps are also tight that I'm using for this staggered piece. Is I'm just going to pull like so. And hopefully that'll stay in place. Last time it didn't work. As long as it's not me vaping Bick and I'm not going down to his house, I am fine with that. He can do what he wants. As long as it's not me. So, like I say, very extremely hot. It's just suddenly got hot here. Or hot because it's a live stream, probably. So let me just go in for a closer look. That seems to be good. Or it looks good from my angle. Doesn't necessarily mean it is going to be good. So what I'm going to do is I like to wrap over the top. So that's my preferred. So I'm going to start the drill off and see if I get a nice little stagger going. So as you can see just there, not very clearly, but it has started staggering and making a thingy there. Keep it 90-degree angle. I'm not holding my spool very tight either. So I'm going to keep going. Also keeping an eye on this staggered part. So as you can see, there is gaps in there. And then I'm going to go completely all the way down this piece of wire, keeping on making sure they're consistent and nothing's jumping out of place. So let me do that. Keeping an eye very, very carefully. And also taking that off. So I've got a good stagger going on. I'm hoping my mic is doing its job. So I've got a nice little spacing going on perfectly. Which is perfect for what I want. Thank you to whoever is on the live. I do appreciate it. So as I'm looking, I'm checking for consistency, making sure that the wraps are nicely spaced. Like I say, I am not holding my spool tight. A lot similar to when I am doing a decor for an alien. I want a little bit of movement, obviously, in it, obviously for runoff. So when I go to the end of this, I'm not going to go completely to the end. I'm going to leave a bit of space just at the end for runoff if I need it. So I've got a nice spacing going on. I'm not going to go too fast because obviously this clip is wiggling. And obviously I don't want to lose anything or jump anything. And like I say, I'm not going to go all the way to the end. I'll stop about here. Like I say, I want a bit of room for movement and runoff, because as you do your final wrap, obviously your staggered bit will move a tad. So that is looking quite nice. And like I say, I've got extra wire obviously for that runoff, or if I don't need it, obviously I've got plenty of wire. So with this, I don't need to leave a tail on or anything. I don't need to do that. I just need to cut it like so. So that's my first piece done. Just lock that off. So I'm going to very carefully remove that and then carefully move this staggered piece off like so. So that's my first wire staggered. Let's see if I can get you a bit closer so you can see a little bit better of what I've done here. A bit better. I need to lock you in and get there. Bit out. Sorry guys. Come on. There we are, that's a bit better. So as you can see, there's some nice spacing in the wire for my staggered piece, like so. So that's my first piece. So I'm going to quickly get on with my other piece. So I'm going to try and not lose that piece that I just had, which I think I have. Doesn't matter, I'll cut off another piece. So I'm going to cut it there. Obviously, like a Clapton decor, be very careful. You don't want to obviously snag this piece of wire in any way, because you don't want to mess up your spacing on your wire. So I'm going to carefully just pop that there on the side. And do my next piece. So same again. Going to load this in. Again, down, get my swivel, stick an L in it, just to make it easier to mount on the swivel. So I'm going to stick an L in it, mount it to my swivel. Neil Pitts, welcome. Thanks for joining me. So again, just going to do the same. I'm going to get a piece, I'm going to lock it in to my swivel just here. Same as I did last time. And then same again, I'm going to make it taut. So obviously, because you have seen this bit already once, let's see if I can find that piece of wire. Which obviously I can't find, so I'll cut off another piece. So I'll do exactly the same on this. Let me get this sorted here. There we are. Get back to autofocus. Wow. It is extremely warm in this room. Let's have a cool drink. Cheers, guys. and a quick vape. So, seeing as I've gone and lost that piece, I'm gonna pull another piece off this spare wire that I have and do exactly the same. Appreciate everybody that's here. I appreciate you coming and joining the live. Like I say, I do know that there's other streamers on at the moment, so I appreciate you coming and sticking with it. So again, I've got another small piece. Hopefully I won't lose that. Grab my 36 gauge NI80 and load it in. Where's my binoculars again? Like I say, I am blind. I will need these binoculars. So again, I'm just going to load this in here and then get a few wraps going just to get me started and get this wire locked in as well. Leaving a slight stagger there to obviously put my wire through. So I've got a nice little spacing like I did with my first piece of stagger. Where's that piece gone? Which is there. So this wire that I'm using is the same gauge as what I'm using for my staggered. It's a 36 gauge. Yeah, what we all vaping on? Nice one. Vaping bit. What is everybody vaping on? Are you regulated, borrow, MEC, RTA, RDA? What's your poison for tonight's stream? So again, I'm going to put this wire in between the first wrap and then loop it over so it's wrapped twice around there. Use my clip to obviously clip it in place. And then I want to push it as far up as possible, like that. Using my pliers, I'm just going to grab this wire here like I did before, and then I'm going to pull tight to make sure that that is all the way up to there, like so. And hopefully with this one I'll have no problems like I didn't with the first one I did. So same again, nothing special, keep it 90-degree angle. I'm not using a lot of tension. And Vaping Brummy, how we doing, Charles? Thanks for dropping in, brother. Appreciate it. So I'm going to get going again just to make sure that I'm staggering, which I am. So this one I'm going to try and send it a bit so we're not messing about. I'll keep an eye on it while you lot chat. Making sure that the spacing's nice and consistent, going all the way across. Which it is. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not holding my spool very tight. I'm holding it quite slack because I want it to be also able to move as well. Obviously for runoff as well at the end. And I'm hoping my mic is doing its job and dulling out the drill sound. And then making sure nothing's jumping as well. Bonza Pro, yes, I'm using the Bonza Pro. Great RDA. Oh, strawberry Twinkie milkshake. Wow. I remember back in the day vaping a deep fried Twinkie juice. That was, oh, that was awesome, that juice. That sounds very, very tasty, that. Neil Pitts. So same again, I'm going all the way down, leaving a little bit for runoff. And then I'm going to stop there. So same again, I don't need a tail on there, so I'm just going to cut it as flush as I can. There we are. Let me see what's going on in chat so I'm not thinking it. Oh, butterscotch custard. I do like a custard, I've got to admit. So I'm going to release my clip. Similar to how I did with the first one. And then I'm going to very carefully just pull that off. I won't need that. Just let me have a quick look. Raspberry jam donut. Love it. Ooh, marshmallow milk. All that sounds absolutely delicious, vaping bit. Sounds like my kind of juice. So, yeah. So that's nice. Exactly the same as number one. So chop that off. And release this piece here. So I'm just going to lay that in front of me. Be careful not to snag it. Obviously, with your spacing, you don't want to stretch it or anything. All right, let me have a couple of minute break to cool down. Then obviously read the chat as well. Exactly. Cheers, everybody. So if you just joined and you didn't get the beginning of the stream, I'm currently vaping on some ice melonade in the blotto. And for those who know me, know that I don't like ice flavours, but this ice flavour, if anybody who tries Dark Star liquids or ever tried this ice melonade, it's a very slight hint of cooling or ice in there. Lovely. And then obviously in my mech, I have got I've got my G14 classified juice that I can't talk about, but it is a dessert juice. And I don't know if you can hear it or it comes through my mic. My things come off my mic. Here's a bit of a crackle there. Tasty. That is one tasty RDA. Right, let me check what's going on here. Because as you can see, I've lost my thingy bit off the top of my mic. There it is. So there is background noise, so I apologise. I do have my window open. Need to have another hit with that. So I don't know if it comes through my mic, but there is a nice bit of crackle there. Not much. Need some more juice on it. And obviously don't drip too much if you've got a D Pro, because it is shallow. Yeah, hear that? Nice bit of crackle. So that's my alarm to remind me to put my charging battery on. So, where are we? So, I am charging. Right, let's get on. Like I say, very, very warm. So, I've got my two pieces that are staggered just here in front of you. Trying to be careful not to obviously snag it, because I don't want to mess up the spacing on there as well. So I'm going to line this up as parallel as I can, just so when it comes to obviously doing my final wrap, sorry if you can hear a motorbike. So that's looking more or less parallel. So without trying to snag it, I'm going to load this up. I'm going to chop the end off just here, just to help a bit. Get rid of any excess. Carefully mount it back into my core holder. This is brilliant if you've never had one. It keeps your cores, or if you're doing a multi-core coil, keeps them nice and flat and parallel next to each other. Because anybody that uses a normal drill will obviously know that it can't always work using a round chuck. So I'm going to lock that in there. I'm going to see if this end is level, which it sort of isn't, but not a problem. So just going to pull that there like that. I'm going to cut off obviously my excess just here. Load this into my swivel. Any questions or anything, feel free to ask away if you have any questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick an L in this. Making sure that both wires are parallel. So at the end here, I'm not touching where my staggered is, just so I don't pull it. So just let me get you close for what I'm about to do here. So this is just the way I do it. I find it easier to do it this way. Trying to get it to focus properly, which is about there. So what I'm doing is I'm doing like that. But what I do is when I put it in my swivel, I want to leave a slight gap in between, because what I want to achieve is with these bits that are hanging out. Right, it's not going to let me do that, so I'm not going to do that. Obviously, because it's a live stream, it's not letting me do it. But what I would normally do is these two, I'd poke through the middle, just so these are not as slammed together and ruin any of the spacing. So I'm just going to lock that in there, and same again, pull my swivel. I don't want it too tight for this. I want it to be really slack. And then obviously space for runoff as well. So that's that all set up. So now for the fun part. Fusing these two together with 36 gauge and making it into a staggered fuse Clapton, basically. So I appreciate everybody that's here. I am just overwhelmed by the amount of people that are here today. So I want you about there. Get this locked in and you can see it a bit better, hopefully. Come on. Sometimes I don't know if it's too close or not close enough. Okay, let's move you out a bit, see if that helps. There we are, that's a lot better. So, there we are. So as you can see, just there, I've got it as parallel. So the spacings are parallel, and then obviously the wire is also parallel. So hopefully it'll be easier for me to fuse them. Same with my aliens. I will not be going fast because I don't want to mess it up. But obviously you can also see what I'm doing as well. So I hope you guys are enjoying the stream so far, the ones that are here. Like I say, I do appreciate it. And if you haven't already, I would appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you're just dropping in and you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. I will appreciate it a lot. Nice little crackle on that. So let's get to the fun part, but obviously the part where it can mess up as well. So I'm doing this so I can see a lot better what I'm doing. So with this, I just want to try not lose my spool. Straighten out this piece of wire. So I should be able to just poke it through one of those spacings. Like so. So as you can see, I've got it straight through there. And what I'm going to do is I am going to if this will play ball with me, just move that out of the way. I'm going to lock in some wraps. And move that out the way. So I'm just going to get a few wraps locked in there. So as you can see there, or there, I have got some wraps locked in there apart from that little piece there. So steady and slow is how I like to do it. I know there's probably a lot of people out there that can do it probably a lot faster than me. But I want something very consistent. So I apologize if this part might be a little bit boring for you. But I'm holding it at a 90-degree angle, keeping an eye on the consistency of the coil. And so far, so good. So, no. So I've got a little mistake there, but not a big one. Just there. So let's get going again. So this is obviously for my vaping. I'm not doing this professionally. So obviously I'm going to be vaping it. So any really inconsistencies that I get will not affect my vape in any way. I just want to make sure that I'm not skipping or double wrapping over what I've already done basically. So if you've catched my other live streams, you know I don't like to do it too fast. Although I do get a bit bored and I do increase the speed a bit. But I think that should be all right. So in this case, I'm still holding my spool light but slightly tighter because I want obviously the wire to fall in between obviously those staggered parts. So if you're new, I would suggest obviously going slow like I am. Even though I've been doing this for a number of years, I've never been a person that can obviously do it full throttle. So I'm just going to stop it there, move you down a bit, like that, and then slowly start again. So like I say, keep it slow, keep it consistent. I'm sorry if this part is boring because obviously I am going slow. Don't worry about your wire twisting in any way, it should be all right. So I have made a little mistake there, so I am going to reverse. So this is not like an alien where you can't correct your mistakes. You can, you just got to be very careful. I appreciate it, Helder. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate it. And then, like I said, I've gone back a bit. Make sure you put your drill in the, obviously, the right section and then just start again very slowly. Obviously, to get that spacing correct. Now, if you have any inconsistencies in your staggered part, obviously you're going to have a few issues, which I'm currently having now. So like I say, I'm holding my spool tight. I want it to go in between those and I am getting some inconsistencies. But like I say, if you're doing it for yourself, it's not going to affect your vape that much. Now, let me just have a quick look at how I'm holding this. So I just want to reverse a bit. There we are. Just checking my wire like so. So like I say, I'm holding my spool pretty tight because obviously I want it to fall in between those staggered parts. And as you can see, I've got a slight bend on there. But I am holding my spool tight so it falls in between those staggered bits. I've got a nice pace going on there. I'm sorry it's slow, but I'm going to keep it like that. Like I say, I do want to keep it consistent and obviously not make any mistakes. I am going to make mistakes because it is alive. It's just, it goes with the territory with lives. If I didn't have a camera on me and all you lovely people watching me at the moment, I can bang this coil out in no time whatsoever. So I've got a little inconsistency just there, which isn't a problem. It will not affect your vape at all. Like I say, you just got to be consistent, make sure you don't overlap. And if you have problems like I'm having now, it might be because you have snagged your wire in some way. Making sure you're moving your hand along with it as well. Like so. So I'm just going to speed up just slightly. I am missing some and jumping on some. That's probably because of my wraps are inconsistent. So I am going to slow down just a touch. Thanks everybody. OTB Dave, thank you for joining, mate. I appreciate it. So just let me have a quick check. What I'm going to do is, just to help me out a bit, I'm going to pull my swivel just a little bit tighter, just to help. Now I know you can't see obviously what I'm doing in this. Just rebuilt an RDA and cottoned it up. That's nice. Lose the crackle, yeah. It's weird when it comes to crackle because some people like crackle, some people don't like crackle. Me, I can take it or leave it. I have got a bit of crackle on my mech that I'm currently vaping on. So I'm nearly to the end of what I'm doing here. So thanks for being patient, obviously. And this coil is not perfect by any means. It is not perfect. But it's a coil. Like I say, it's a live stream. So stuff's not going to work out for me. Full stop. It just comes with the territory of building online. That's probably why people don't do it, maybe. Holding my spool nice and tight. It's not an easy thing actually making coils. But like I say, I'm making it for myself and trying to educate people that watch my videos. Like I say, it isn't something you see very, very often. People making coils. And there we are. So I've got to the end just there. So I'm just going to move you back just a bit and just check. So like I say, it's not the perfect coil because there is some jumps and I have missed a couple of spacings just here. But by no means is it going to affect the vape. There's quite a few inconsistencies with this, but not to worry. Like I say, if I wasn't on camera, this would be absolutely perfect. And obviously when people are watching you as well, it's not the best. So let's cut this off. move the swivel away completely. I'm going to move you guys back. Take this off. So I appreciate you all that has come and taken the time to watch this stream. So let me cut that off and I'll show you the inconsistencies in there. I want this stream to be as real as possible. It's not that you make me nervous. It's just being on camera. Always seems to happen on camera unless you're professional and you are doing this daily. I don't make coils daily. Which I don't. I've been making coils more often doing these streams than I've ever done, really. But the coils that are in this blotto, they've been in there just over 5 weeks now and they're still going strong as ever and the flavour is good. Still gorgeous. The only thing I've done with this is I have rewicked it. That's all I've done. The coils are the same coils that are in this from my stream when I built this. It's exactly the same coils. I've just rewicked this today because of a dry burn. Anybody had a dry hit will know what I'm talking about. True, Helder, thank you. And like I say, I know I keep showing you this, but this has got a bit of a crackle. Whoever likes crackle. It's not much of a crackle, not like you would get from an MTL, but there is some crackle there. And these have, like I say, these coils have been on since the stream that I built it. Beautiful. But like I say in all my other streams, I'm glad mistakes happen because even us that make coils ourselves do struggle and do make mistakes. If you catch last week's stream, Dave Watman, when I was making my aliens, I think he made a comment that sometimes when he's stretching his core, sometimes his stuff gets nearly thrown about. So let me have a look at this. So it's not the best coil. There we are. So as you can see, I've got a few bits that I have missed. Wait. I want this to turn, obviously, as well, so you can see. Like that. Come on, focus. There we are. And as you can see, as I've gone across, there is a few spacings missed out, but that will not affect your vape. So if you're getting into coils and you're making it and this happens, doesn't mean you can't use your coil. It's just not going to look pretty. Come on. So as you can see, I have missed quite a few bits there. But I suppose in a way it's not a bad thing because then a lot more juice can get into there. As you can see with these fingers and that finger there, there's quite a few bits of spacing missing. But not to worry. It's not going to affect the vape. It's still going to taste good. And like I say, if I wasn't in front of a camera, it'd be absolutely perfect. So a bit of housekeeping. I'm just going to tidy up a bit, get rid of that. So if you see me throw stuff underneath my desk, I'm not being a slob. I have a bin under there. So if you see me constantly doing that, I'm throwing stuff away. I'm not throwing it on the floor. So pop that away, that away. I don't need that now. Oh, no. I thought that unspooled then. Anybody who's had wire and it unspools will know what I'm talking about. So, I will still need them. I don't need them. Right, let's get on to making some coils. Yeah. So, have another drink. I'm getting to the end of this, so what I'll probably do is I'll clean everything up and then just go for a quick break and a quick toilet break and grab my other beer. Now I do have a bit of a hold screen with some music, but it all depends. I think there's a bit of a delay before the music starts playing. So we'll go from there. So that's away, get that away. There we are. And thingy. So like I say, I'm just going to go for a quick break. So if you want to yourself go to the toilet or anything like that, do so now. I'm going to be a minute or so. So I'll see you in about a minute.
We keep it lit, clouds so thick we never quit. Big fat bitches, they don't be straight. We fill the thing all day. This ain't goodbye, just a little break. More bills, more chill, more clouds to make.
And I'm back, guys. Is that finished already? There we are. Can you guys still hear me? Get that back on. And boom. There we are. I am back. It does look different. So next beer that I've got is another Vault City, Caught in the Rain. It's a pina colada sour. This one, 7.8, which is slightly higher than what I'm doing now. What I'm drinking now, that is a 6%. Let me just do that. Right, so just grab my building mod and some fresh batteries out the charger. It's practice bit. If you're used to making coils, obviously it comes naturally. I've been making coils probably the first year into my vaping journey. I started making my own coils and then never looked back really. Might help if I had my batteries in the right way, might work. So using my normal ODB booby wraps, similar to my mat that I've got here from ODB. So we are on there. Now I'm just going to move you down here so you can see what I'm doing. As you can see, this is my mat ODB wrap. Mat, not wrap. So I'm just going to cancel that out, get this on here, get the post screws undone. So you can see me a little bit better like that. Right. I think this was a limited edition one. They did have a couple on their website, but it was like a pre-order. Uwu is your favourite, is it? Uwu. I think Harley's my favourite bit. Harley, or is it Charlie? I can never remember. Mind you, Harley and Charlie, I do like them, but I think it's Harley is my favourite out of the girls. But I've got on here, I've got all four of them. Harley, Charlie, Uwu and Gamer Girl, they're all on here on this mat. It's a really big mat, this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's Uwu. There she is. There she is. If I just quickly move this, I'll show you the actual mat. So you got Uwu, Gamer Girl, Gamer Girl, Gamer Girl, then there's Harley, and then no, Gamer Girl's that one, Harley's that one, Charlie's that one, and then Uwu. If I'm getting it right, but I do like them all. Oh, there we are, and we're back to normal. Get that back there. So I'm just going to undo my post screws, get them. Nothing spring loaded here. So if you've ever owned a Goon, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. Nice long screws as well. You can put them under the clamps or through the post holes. I'll be putting them under the clamps. Like I said, screws are pretty long because obviously they go down to those post holes. So I'm going to unscrew them enough. So I can fit my leads through there. That is true, everybody needs encouragement. Right, let me see where I'm going to start here, or where the best part for me to start is. So I'll start this end. I'm just going to snip the end off just to keep it nice and clean. Or that's what I'm going to try and do. Snip off my end. I'm using my normal Coil Master jig and rod. I don't use the winding tool because obviously I don't want it to mess up my wraps any more than it is. I think with any guy, boobies will keep a man motivated. And Vaping Vic, I know you said your wife wouldn't allow it. This mat was actually a present from my wife. And I had it before I moved here. I had it for a good couple of months before I actually got it out the package before we moved. So, as you can see, the wire's all twisted. Now, if you wanted to, yeah, you could stick it in your drill and reverse your drill to straighten it. But in my opinion, as long as you're careful, it'll come out in the wraps as you wrap it. So I'm using a 3mm rod on the coiling jig just there. I can't say I'm not Vaping Bit. My wife is so supportive with what I do and everything. And when I said, oh, I've seen this mat, they've got it on Google Doc, special order. She says, do you want it? I said, yes. She goes, it can be your birthday present. So I said, hell yes. And I got my name down on that document straight away for one. And then as soon as they were available, bam, it was sent out for me. But like I said, it was in its cover for quite a while. So holding it flat against my coiling rod for the wrap. So I'm going to try and keep in camera while I'm doing this. Your first wrap is always the hardest. So being extremely careful, get that first wrap nice and tight. So I'm going to be doing 5 wraps. And like I say, it is twisted. Just be very careful, very slow. And the twist will come out and go straight for you. So that's my first one. 5 wraps. 3mm. Now, normally what I would do if I've got a slightly shorter piece, with the messing around, I'll start wrapping from this end to the center. But because obviously I've got a nice piece there, I'll just cut it off there and rewind, leaving my legs long enough, obviously, to have a bit of play. So that is the first coil just there. And same again. So this bit is a bit inconsistent, but same again. Hold the flat side against your rod or coiling rod. First wrap is always the hardest, so make sure it is nice and tight. Going slow because obviously my wire is twisted. And that's 4. Obviously going really slow because you don't want to break your wire in any way, doing it really fast. And that's coil number 2. Cutting off a leg. And like I say, in all my streams, my bits that I have left over, if I can make a small borrow coil out of it, I will do. I do have one borrowed device, which is the Pulse Mini, and I've got a Mob Mini, bridge, an SXK one, so it's not an authentic again. Thanks everybody for being so patient and sticking with it. I really appreciate you all. I love you all. So as you can see, there is a few inconsistencies. I've missed some gaps and everything. Come on, camera. I have missed a few gaps there because I was probably holding my wire wrong, but it will not affect the vape in any way. Obviously, if I were doing it professionally, these would get tossed or I'd use them and I'd start again. But this is how complicated and hard it can be to obviously make coils. So what I'm going to do is very quickly, I'm just going to change my binocular lens so I'm not having to go too far in to see what I'm doing. So what I want to do is I just want to see where I'm at. So using this, so I'm just going to carefully measure where I want to be. So I'll start off with 7mm leg, and then give the legs a snip and a snip. I'll try and get in a bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. So I do apologise. So in there, 7mm. Watch your eyes. And again, watch your eyes. There we are. So let's have a little check here. So I think maybe a bit lower. So I'm going to go down to 5 because I will be able to pull and manipulate the coil once it's mounted. So I'm going to go down to 5. There we are. Let's have a quick look at that. That should be about perfect for me, the spacing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very carefully tuck that under there, like so. And then with the other coil, I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to tuck it under. Or what I will do is I will just straighten the legs a bit. So they're sitting there nicely. What I will do is I'll try and mount them on top of each other, just to get that perfect connection if I can. So I'm just going to loosen these a bit more. Just so those bits go a bit higher, those clamps go a bit higher. So I'm just going to nudge them in there, pop that in there. I need that one just higher. And mount these in. So these can be difficult. If you've got two coiling rods, then obviously use them. It'll be a lot easier. So it can be slightly difficult. So I want these poking through, but not so far that it's going to be causing any issues, which should be good just about there. Like that. So it doesn't have to be perfect, because obviously you can bend and manipulate the positioning of your coil. So I'm just going to very carefully start clamping these down. I'm going to clamp these two middle ones down just so I feel a bit of bite, just to get them seated in there and not moving. Just so it's got a bit of resistance there. Like that. So once I've got them more or less clamped in like that, so as you can see, they're not perfect because obviously I'm going to be doing a bit of pulling and manipulation. So I'm going to lock these down now. And same with that. Being careful as well that I don't want to bend these these little clamps. Because the more you tighten down on them with coils in, the more obviously there's going to be pressure in the center of it and they might bend. So I want them down snug enough so it's going to catch. And there, we're locked in. We are locked in. I appreciate you coming in, Vic. Thank you, mate. If it's late there, go on, get yourself off. I appreciate you coming in, mate. And yes, I will definitely have fun. And everybody else as well in the chat. Appreciate you coming, my brother. And I'll see you soon. So, You too, my brother. You too. So what I'm going to do now is put my coiling rod through and then obviously straighten out my coil. So all I'm doing is straightening it out at the moment, getting it straight. And then I'm going to check where I am. I'm going to shove it a bit into the center, like so. So I want it like that. And then same with the other side. I'm going to just get it straight, see where I am, see if I need to pull, manipulate or anything. The coil, get it in more or less the same position. Like I say, once you've in there and got everything positioned, you can pull and squeeze and get them in the right place. So have a look there. So they're more or less the same. I just want to pull this out a bit more with the consistency. There we are. So there is a bit of a wonk going on there, but they're nice and level. So once you've done that, obviously check your post screws. Make sure they're still nice and tight. Obviously with your pulling and manipulating the coils, it can loosen your screws a bit. So just make sure they're nice and tight and everything's in place, which it is. So I'm just going to get this off now. So there we are. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to loosen this, zero out my mod, and then pop it back on, and then let's do some heat and pinching. Yes, this is a new coil. So as it stands now, it is reading at a 0.08. But after a bit of heating and stuff, it should come up slightly, maybe a 0.9 or a 0.1. So I'm going to start off at 40 watts, introducing heating slowly so I can get all those hot spots out and stuff. So I appreciate all of you that have stayed. I do appreciate it. So I'm going to start introducing some heat to it. Let me do that a bit so you can see it a little bit better. There we are. So I'm going to slowly introduce some heat into it. So as you can see, I've got a little bit of smoke coming up there. Starting to heat up there. So slowly introduce heat. Now, for some reason, this one isn't. Oh, it is. It is slowly but surely. It's getting there. So as you can see, this one's heating up faster than this one. So what I'd like to do is I like to pinch a bit. Same with this one. I'd like to pinch a bit. Some people don't like to pinch. I do pinch. There we are. And they're starting to heat up slightly evenly. Still give it a bit of strumming. Strumming does help just to get those hot spots out. So as you can see, they're starting to glow a bit better. But on this particular coil, there is a hot spot just there. So I'm going to keep introducing heat, keep strumming. introduce some heat, keep strumming. I want to see, so I've got a bit of a hot spot just there. Yep, a bit of a hot spot just there. So in this case, if you find that you get hot spots, where are we? Use your coiling rod and just push it through like that. Push it through, pull it out. Same with that one. Push it through, pull it out. And then start heating it up again. There we are. So they're starting to look perfect. Give it a little strum. I'm trying to keep you in camera view. There we are. There we are. And they seem to be heating up just perfect. Nice and evenly, glowing from the inside out, and no hot spots. That is perfect. Just the way I want it. So I'm just going to let them cool down a bit. I'm going to bring you guys back up here so you can see me. So appreciate everybody that stayed so far. I do appreciate it. Right. So while they're cooling down, I will break open this beer, this Caught in the Rain Pina Colada. Let's have a pour. So this one isn't as thick as the other one. There we are. A bit hazy, like that. So you can definitely smell the coconut in that. Cheers, guys. I hope you've still got something to drink, whether it's alcoholic or not. Oh, wow. So this, like the other one, it doesn't taste that sour. There is a sour note to it. Nice coconut flavour. And a nice sort of creamy, very, very hoppy beer, this one. This one I think will go well with this dessert juice that I've got that I cannot talk about. I'm just going to drip a bit more juice on there. Just while that's cooling down. That's nice. Excuse me. So, cheers, guys. Let's do a pairing. It's okay. It does bring out those creamy notes out of the beer. Yeah, definitely brings out those creamy notes. Don't bring out the sour taste to it. It doesn't. But I'm wondering. Excuse me. Let's see what it tastes like with this melon lemonade. Oh, did they? Well, love to him. I know. I do watch Steve OCD. Yeah, definite. Big shout out to you, Steve O. If you watch the replay, I know you do watch the replay. You watch my last replay. cheers to you, and thanks for the love, for bringing people to my stream as well. Love, my brother. I appreciate it. Now, this one tastes a lot better with that. Brings out the sour notes in this. But yeah, thanks, Helder, for mentioning Steve OCD, because I know who you mean. And he just shows amazing love on his streams. So anybody who's watching now or in the replay crew, go check out Steve OCD's channel. He does a live stream. Remind people that are in the chat what day Steve OCD streams. Is it Monday? Is it Monday he streams? I think it is. So big shout out to Steve OCD. Go check his channel out. Go subscribe. He's an amazing guy. He's brilliant. Thanks for that, Helder. I appreciate it. And yeah, shout out to Steve OCD. I did watch some of his actual Monday live stream, but when he goes live, it is, I think, 12 or half 12 a.m. here. So I did think I catch the first half an hour, maybe 45 minutes of his stream, but I will have to go back and check his stream out and give him some love as well. He's one of the nicest people that I've watched. I don't know him personally, but he is amazing. He's amazing. He's an amazing guy. Yeah. I normally watch the replays, Helder. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name right, so I'm sorry if I'm not. But yeah, I'm normally replay crew with him. But if I'm awake or anything, I do try and catch his live stream. But top guy. He's amazing. So cheers to you, Steve-O, or Steve OCD. I will mention as well, on YouTube, his name is Steve_O. I don't think it's Steve OCD. His actual YouTube channel. But yeah, search thing Steve_O. Steve_O. Okay, and go subscribe to his channel. I don't watch many live streams. I watch the normal popular ones, but I've always watched Steve OCD, and like I say, he is a great and amazing guy. Thank you. I just didn't want to butcher your name. That's all. But yeah, I do appreciate it, and I do appreciate Steve obviously mentioning me on his live stream. I do appreciate it, because you don't have to do that, and he shows love, and I'm the same. I show love, and anybody who's got a YouTube channel that watches, like Bick, if you know him, go subscribe to him. Steve, that was in the chat as well, he's got a channel as well. Vaping Brummy as well. Go check all these people out as well as on social media as well. They're on Instagram, Facebook, and probably some other social media sites as well. So yeah, for definite, go check him out. He's amazing. Big shout out to him. Big shout out. So I'm going to be wicking. I'm using this cotton. This isn't my preferred cotton. This is just stuff that I had to get because I couldn't get the one that I normally use. The one that I normally use is Kendo Gold, or just normal Muji cotton is what I use. I also use Firebolt cotton, but I've probably used more or less every cotton over the years. I have been vaping a good 11, 12 years now. So I have used a lot of cotton in my time, and just they're the ones that I prefer straight away. I'm not saying other cottons are as good, because they are. It's just what I prefer. Everybody's different. Every taste and everything is subjective, like with anything. So, like I say, I'm only using this because I got a good deal on it, and I got like so many packets. But this is my last packet, so hopefully I'll get some Kendo and get back to 2 years next July. Congratulations. But yeah, that's hence my YouTube name, Retro Vapes, because I've been vaping a lot, and most of my stuff is retro or old school, or could be considered old school. The way I do it is, if a product is 5 years old or more, I consider that retro. And or if about 10 to 15 RDAs or RTAs from other creators have come out within that time, I would consider stuff like that retro after that time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slightly thin this cotton out. Not going to thin it out too much. I'm just going to thin it out, get any clumps or anything out. And then obviously we've got to do a mic vapes under tickle, because it does actually make a difference doing that under tickle. There we are. Gets rid of all the clumpy bits and stuff in your cotton. So I'm just going to start cutting this using my small pair of scissors. And I'm just going to roughly measure this. I'm going to cut less off, because obviously you can't add cotton back on. So I'm just going to test this out for size, because obviously the coil is high. You want enough cotton there for capillary action. So that is a bit too long. The other side might not be. I'm trying to keep in camera, so I do. So that's fine on that side. I'm just going to trim that just there, and then tuck that in. I just want it touching the bottom of the deck. I don't want it overly under there, because obviously I'll just want it touching the bottom like that. And then the same on the other side. So it's nice and fluffy, that's why I thinned it out. Like so. And then same again, I'm just going to tuck it in. I normally just swoop it in there, like that. And same with this side. This looks a bit long. So I'm just going to trim that a bit more. So I'm just going to check. KJ, thank you for coming in. Could you possibly tell me who you are, KJ, or where I know you from, KJ? Wow, been going over 2 hours now. Probably been talking just a bit too much. And to your question as well, the RDA is the Royal Hunter X. Sorry about that, KJ. It's the Royal Hunter X that I'm building, which is that RDA. So how do I know you? Do I know you from social media? Is it you've just dropped in? Or you got me on a search? I know we don't know each other personally, but do I follow you on social media? Just in case your name's different to what it might be on social media. Because I don't want to be rude, is why I'm asking, just in case I follow you or anything, but your name is different. I don't want to be rude, that's all. But the RDA that I'm building is the Royal Hunter X, and I've got a staggered fuse Clapton on there, 22 gauge core, 36 staggered and wrapped as well. So that's it, built and wicked. As you can see, it's all nice and fluffy in there, not underneath my coil to let in air for underneath the coil. If you like that and you do get in, once you've juiced it up, you can put it on. Oh, right. Well, thank you for joining again, KJ. I really do appreciate it. So I do appreciate it, KJ, for you dropping in again. I do appreciate it. So, like I say there, you want it to be fluffy, not underneath the coil, but once you do juice it, you can just knock it about a bit. Right, juice. What juice shall I put in there? So I'm going to use some juice that I'm testing at the moment. I did use it in last week's live stream. It's a peanut butter juice. That's all I can tell you about it, because obviously I'm testing it and the person that makes it for me I have to keep strum about. So it's a peanut butter juice mixed with something else. Okay, 70-30, 3 milligram Nick salts in there. It's tidier than some people, but I do own a lot of retro stuff, KJ. Just let me get rid of that now. So there we are. But this was a popular mod that I used to there. So as you can see, there is some imperfections in it, but yeah, like underneath and stuff like that. Demi, thanks for joining, Demi. But yeah, I've always been like that, KJ. I've always looked after my stuff. It's just something that I've always done. I do actually have a platinum version that I don't really use. That's in mint condition. That's on my shelf on my wall. I do have a platinum version of this, and it's gorgeous, but I don't use it because I don't want to mess it up. But most of the stuff that I've got, I do look after. And this used to be a mod that I used to use a lot back in the day. Now I use it as my building mod for reading my resistance and stuff. So, thanks. Demi, Brandon's favourite banana. What you saying there? Is that a juice you're using, or I don't get your comment. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude. Oh, banana flavour. Right. I've never been a banana fan because I've never liked juices that taste like the sweet banana. I haven't tried a juice that actually tastes like a banana. So, banana flavour, the one that you're choosing, is it like a kiddie sweet banana, like a foam banana, or does it actually taste like a fresh banana, is what you're vaping on? And just to answer KJ's question, yeah, that's awesome, and I am lucky, but this isn't stuff that I've got all at once. This is stuff that I have accumulated over 11, 12 years, like a foam banana. Right. I've never been a fan of foam bananas. I've yet to try a banana flavour that I like or tastes like fresh bananas. I don't know. It's weird. I don't. To me, it tastes a bit chemically. Just foam bananas in a vape. I did make the coils myself, KJ. In my streams, I always make the coils. They're not perfect because obviously I am on a live stream, but off camera I can do it and they can be perfect. But yeah, in my live streams, I do make my coils myself. It's one of the reasons I do it, just something different compared to other people's coils. Other people's coils, other people's streams, they use pre-made coils. Not that I'm shitting on anybody that uses pre-made coils. Just some people are not into it the way I am. We did have Dave Watman in the chat earlier on in the stream who makes pre-made coils. So if you're somebody who likes pre-made coils, that's a good person to maybe check out if you're not into making coils. But KJ, the reason why I do it that way, just in case anybody was watching who might be interested or is getting into making coils, obviously this stream might be educational as well for them. That's why. Let me get on with it because I am running a bit over time. Not that I'm bothered. It runs as long as it does, but I normally run about a couple of hours. But I've had more people in today's live, so I have been chatting and stuff. So I do appreciate everybody, every one of you, and every one of you that is still here. So anyway, let's get this juiced up and let's get it vaped. So, like I say, peanut butter, it is mixed with something else. But like I say, I cannot talk about it because obviously the person that makes it for me wants me to keep stum about it. So I'm going to drip some juice and then obviously press the fire button so it sucks that juice in. So let me do that again and show you up close. And then press it. And then it sucks it in. So I want to get these goodly saturated. So if you've just joined, I won't be vaping it on this mod. This is just my build mod. I will be choosing a mod after it's built and everything, which will be a mech. So I tried to keep it interesting. So that's that. Let me bring it up. So I've got it up to about 75 watts, which is perfect. Let's get some more juice on those coils. That's perfect. And then just let me tidy this up a bit underneath the coils. Like so. So as you can see that, now that it's all juiced up, I have moved them a bit. Like that. So that's the RDA built. Want to make sure both my air holes are open, which they are. This RDA doesn't have tabs. Let me just sort out these stragglers. Don't have tabs. So you've got to just line up your airflow in front of your coils, which I'll do just there, and then pull off. Now for what I'm going to run it on. Why am I getting that? Now for what I'm going to run it on. So I'll just pop that there. So what I'm going to run it on is a mech mod. It is my preferred device, is a mech mod. So that's what I'll be using it on. And the mech mod that I chose is this, which is an AV Able mod or Avidlide Able mech. Now this isn't authentic, so I'm sorry if you do not like clones and stuff, but back then it was rife, and this is a hybrid mech mod as well. I did polish it up, but I have been touching it and stuff, so there is a few fingerprints on it. This isn't the sleeve that came with it, it just came with a plain sleeve. I got this as an after. Like that. Right guys, I know my camera is okay. It's gone off my screen. I'm going to reconnect to that. So if you're in, what I'm doing right now It's just so I can see what's going on and what. And I think we're back. Right, we're back. So just then, if you just joined, I've got two screens. One's that I can see what I'm filming, and then obviously not Facebook, YouTube. So here we are again. So the Able, it is a clone, like I say, 18650, and that's what I'm going to be running on. It is a hybrid. So anybody who's not familiar with a hybrid mech mod, there's no center pin. It is straight connection from the bottom of your ATI to your battery. So I will say straight away, don't use sub-ohm tanks on a hybrid mech mod. Just don't do it. It'll be dangerous and catastrophic if you do that. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that your RDA or RTA that you're using has a protruding pin. So I'll just stick this up here like that. So the one on the left, do not use on this sort of device. So let me go like that. So the one on the left, don't use on this hybrid mech mod, because that's when you're going to have problems. The one on the right is the one you want to be using on this type of device, a hybrid mech mod. That copper pin has to be protruding from the stainless steel threads. So if your RTA and RDA isn't like the one on the right and it's like the one on the left, don't use it on this sort of device. Just don't do it. And like I say, do not use sub-ohm tanks whatsoever on a mech mod. Be safe, guys. Please be safe. So I will get rid of that, and I will show you, so you know, my pin is protruding, as you can see there. That pin is protruding out of there. From those stainless steel 510 threads, it is protruding. So this is safe to use on this device. So screw your top cap or screw your RDA onto the top cap like that. And battery 18650 battery. So use high drain batteries. This is another ODB wrap, booby wrap, similar to my mat. This is a mashup wrap with all four girls on, similar to my mat, which is here. It's got all four girls on there. So use high drain batteries, high ampage batteries when you're using this. So there we are. So I'm going to do that. Positive, I've got facing up. I'm going to change it. So I'm going to have positive facing down, because my vent holes, as you can see on the bottom there, those holes on the outside, they are my venting holes. So I want to run my battery positive side down, because that's where your battery is going to vent, at the positive part of your battery, and that's where you want the air to escape. So if you're using a single mech mod battery, it doesn't matter whether you run it positive side up or negative side up. But what I will say is, wherever your vent holes are, that's where you put your positive. If your vent holes are at the top of your mech, run your battery positive up. So as these are vent holes at the bottom, I'm going to be using it positive side down and negative up. And then I'm going to screw my top onto there till it makes contact. I'm not screwing it on tight, I'm just making contact, making sure nothing happens. It's not getting hot or anything like that. Let's see if it fires, which it is. It is firing nicely on there like that. So that's the RDA, and that is the mech mod there. So what I'm going to do very, very quickly is I'm going to do a quick tidy up, and then I'll go back to FaceTime where I'll move my camera so you can see me a bit better, and we'll talk about it a bit and vape it. So like I say, I'm just going to put a few bits away so my desk doesn't look a mess when I do change my camera view. But any builder's bench is never clean for long. Mine isn't during the week. It's normally just clean for my lives. And then I'll just put stuff away. And just in case any of you are curious as well, I will give you a little sneak peek of my wall and what's on my wall. So just stick that there. That's the juice I will be using. I've got my other two bits just there. My little buffet that I've got. Put that there. And I'll stick my drink there. So I'm going to go back to FaceTime where I put you back up here so you can see me a bit better. And we'll have a bit of a talk. Pop you back up like that so you can see me. Like so. So what I'll do is I'll swing it round to what you can't see. So obviously that's all my building stuff. That's the screen. That's why I was fiddling about, because that screen went off and I couldn't see what I was doing. So I'm always looking at two screens. So that's all my building stuff. And then I've got all my regulated mods on that, all my mech mods on that one. I've got all my RDAs on that one, all the RTAs up at the top. And I've got some bits there, some replicas. And then that's the drag up there where the Phantom is. Like that. That's basically what you don't see. And that's it. Right. So let me give you, oops, back to here where you are. Thanks for sticking around, everybody. I do appreciate it. So there we are. There we are. Wide angle of my room there. Where's me? There we are. He is messing me about like so. There we are. Get you back to that. Make sure autofocus is on. Get you back up to that so you can see me a bit better, and I will shuffle about. And get my chair into position. So thank you everybody that has stuck by so far, or stuck around so far. I do appreciate it. My phone is playing up a bit, and it's only playing up because, as well as vaping, I do other bits. I beta test for Apple. So if you've got an Apple product, I'm currently testing iOS 26. That's coming out in September. So if I have any problems, it's probably due to that and not anything else. So that there like that. My drink. Cheers. I hope everybody that's still here is having something nice. Thank you, KJ. I appreciate it. I didn't have this sort of setup over a year ago. We lived in a flat, me and my wife. We lived in a flat, and I had a corner of the room. And I couldn't really do stuff. I wanted to do reviews and live streams then, but I wasn't comfortable with my surroundings. It didn't look good. And then we moved to this property that we're at now. And now I'm lucky enough to have my own room. And that's that. And that's why I've got all this my own room. I like pink. That's why I've got pink everywhere on my wall. Pink's my favourite colour. I wanted something a bit snazzy on there. That's why I've got that wallpaper and a few bits just there, because as I am an Apple fanboy, so I've got my father's iPhone 6S there, all in bits there, and my very first Mac computer is there, and then it's got the back above it, and then the screen just above my phone. But yeah, nice little space that I've got here. So anyway, so let's have a look at that. So that is the Royal Hunter X. I've got the airflow open on both sides, fully open on the able, just like that. Let's give it a 2. Excellent. And that is hitting like a champ as well. I'm glad I've got it fully open. Beautiful. Now let's see if this peanut butter will go well with this pina colada sour. That actually does. That's good. So this juice does bring out the sour of the juice. Sourness of the juice, but that peanut butter goes well with the creaminess of the pina colada. Please excuse me if you hear that in my mic. I am sorry. But yeah, oh my God. So like I said previous, the OG Royal Hunter I never had, but a friend had it and I didn't like it at all. The OG Royal Hunter, I believe they brought out a short one as well, a shorty one, and I didn't like that. So this one I haven't had for years. I've recently got this probably in the last 6 months because it were going cheap, and I thought, why not? Because there's a lot of good reviews on it, and I got this really, really cheap as well. You'll be amazed at how cheap I got this. So yeah, and I do like this. And when I got it, like with anything you get vape mail or anything, it's exciting. It's like Christmas. can't wait to open it. You can't wait to build it. You can't wait to try it. And I've got to admit, when I did try it, I was shocked on the flavour, because the flavour is quite outstanding on this. And on this mech as well, it is hitting hard. And you will get that with a hybrid mech, because you obviously got that straight ATA to battery connection. Let's drip some more in there. So give that what Nick Green would say, give it a blare. And as you can see there, it's hitting hard. So as you can see, the vapor production is good on there. Let me so I'm going to close down one of the airflow holes, so at the top, so just the two at the bottom is open. Let's see what happens with that. And that elevates the flavour, just shutting off that top airflow. Yeah, wow. Yes, I do, Helder, I do like squonking. I'm not a big squonker. I mean, I've got two squonk devices, top side and the top side dual. You can't see it because of the clouds, but I do have a dual there and a single there. I do have this one that I had back in the day that I don't really use, but is in my collection, and that is the Kanga squonk. I don't really use this, but this is a mech squonk. I might actually fire this up with a 22mm RDA. But I do like squonking. Yeah, true. He would say that. He would say that. Or if you watch Trippers, it hits you like a truck full of dildos as well. You know what? I quite like it with the airflow at the top turned off. I like it better than fully open. And like I say, even though that staggered fuse Clapton did have some imperfections in the build, it hasn't affected the vape at all. It is still tasty as hell. Oh, from Alpha Mods. Nice. Which squonk is it? Which squonk mod is it? If you don't mind me asking. Thank you for the 4 that's still in here. For the 4 that's still in here, I know KJ and Heldy's commenting. Who else is watching? Would you like to comment? That is hitting nice. And as you can see, it's getting cloudy in here, even though I've got my window fully open. I'm just going to drip some more juice in there. Some more people have jumped in. Thank you for jumping back in. If you've jumped back in, I know a couple of people have jumped back in. I've got it build the Royal Hunter X with a staggered fuse Clapton on this Able Mech, that which is a clone. Right. Thanks, Hanky Panky. Thanks for dropping in and out. I do appreciate it. Demi, I've just realised who you are, you and Brandon. I've just realised. Sorry. Oops. Take that off. So, Demi, is that banana the one that I gave Brandon when he came down? Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with everybody and everything, and I've just realised who you are. Do you like that? Because it's an ice flavour. Do you like the ice flavour? What do you mean, KJ? Wouldn't have known where to get what? Oh, so you can't really. You've got to be lucky. The way I do it is because I don't have loads of money. I don't get much up to date stuff apart from obviously the Bonza Pro, which I've currently got on my desk warrior. The Bonza Pro and Hammer of God. That's the OG original there that I keep at home. But most of what I've got is retro, and you can't. Oh, excuse me. You can't really get them now. The only way you will be able to get some of this stuff is Facebook groups or buy and sell and trade groups that might have old stuff that is going fairly cheap as well. Right. That's probably one of the good reasons why I like being a retro vapor, because stuff can be cheap as well, because sometimes some people don't know what they have and they'll get rid of it. I've got a couple of things that might be coming in a week or so that I got really cheap, that probably back in the day will probably have easily cost over 100 quid, and I've got it for a steal. Similar with this one that I've shown, the Descendant mech mod. So this I actually got from a shop that had old stock, and this is authentic. This isn't a clone. This is a rig mod, and I'm so happy to have this actually in my collection as an authentic, because I did get an Outlaw tube with it, and I only paid 30 quid for both. Now, back in the day, these were over 100 quid, these mech mods. Now, I do have the V1 rig mod, but it's a clone, but this is an authentic. And I'm so happy to have this, because if you know Rig Mods, the creator of this mod is no longer with us. He passed away. So I'm so grateful to have this in my collection. As well as I do have clones. I have quite a few clones. Yeah, I do have clones. But I also, if I have clones, I try to source an authentic. So I'm always on the lookout, and if the price is right, I jump on it. Like I said recently, I've got a couple of things coming that I've got fairly cheap that is retro. And back in the day, it would have cost me over 100 quid. And I basically got it for peanuts with postage in it, with it as well, with postage in it. So stuff that you saw that I showed you is more or less all retro, and you're lucky to get them now if you can. How's that mod? Are you talking about clone mods or authentic, KJ? Because personally, clones can work just as good as the authentics. In some cases, I've got clones that hit harder than the authentics, but it's just, you've got to be cautious with clones. That's all I can say. One thing I like about mech mods is it's not like a regulated mod, so there's no chip, no board that the authentic rig mods. Oh, I think they still do make them. If you can get an authentic rig mod and it's good money, grab it, bite the hands off, is what I would say. But I don't know in the US. Obviously, it's a bit more money, but I tend to look for I tend to look for authentics if I can for a good price. I mean, there's loads of people that offer me stuff that'll message me and say, "Look, I know you're into retro stuff. Are you interested in this? It's authentic." But sometimes it's way out of my price range, and I'll tell them, "Look, it's out of my price range," and. And they're cool with it. They're cool with it. But I'm sure it's not just me that the message to say that, "Oh, I've got this particular one." But if it does, I mean, this one, this authentic, it hits like a train. I mean, it's got a bit of a crackle. I don't know if you're a person that likes crackle. But as you can see, that's hitting. As you can see, that is hitting badass. Now, the V1 that I've got, that is a clone, still hits hard. It hits like a train. But at that time, KJ, you probably know if you've been following it, following vape stuff. back when I started vaping back in 2014, 13, 14-ish, when they made stuff like this, they only made a certain amount and then that was it. And they were £100 plus here in the UK. So I'm assuming they're about the same in the USA, over $100 plus. So once they'd gone and they'd all been sold out, that's when cloners went to work, where they'd clone devices, because most of these companies that made clones were companies that made the authentics. So they still knew how they were made, and they took advantage of that. Obviously, when you couldn't get them no more, they made clones and people bought them cheaper for a fraction of the price. So back in the day, something that would, a mech mod that would cost like 150, 200, 250 pounds or $250, you know, clones, you could buy them for less than £100 or $100. Excuse me, and they'd still perform just as good as the authentics. Easily. And don't get me wrong, that is worth it for the work that goes into it. And in a way, I do feel bad having clones, but not being able to get hold of an authentic is also not good. Like I say, I try and source authentics if I can. I always try and source authentics. But if I can't, I do buy clones. And that's not a big fuck you to the people or the authentic people or the creators that made the authentics. In any way, it isn't. It's just my way, in a way, of appreciating the mod that was made, and the fact that I couldn't get an authentic, I want to still experience. And back in the day, if I'm honest with you, I used to buy clones to see if I liked it, and if I did like it, I'd buy an authentic. I'd spend the money on them. Yeah, there were, which is a shame, really. Um, but if you had the money, I didn't always have the money. I mean, work and everything, you have bills to pay and stuff like that, food, rent and stuff like that. That's what got priority. And if you didn't have the money, you didn't have the money. I mean, but in this day and age, you can buy authentic mechs less than £100 or $100 that people can easily access. You know what I mean? I mean, I've seen some mech mods that are authentic that are less than £100 here in the UK. I don't know if it's the same in the US, but you know, they're easily accessible now, where back then it wasn't. It was either spend over £100 and get the authentic, or if you didn't have it, you had to have a clone. I know, I do get you, KJ. I do get you. I mean, back then, people were more, I wouldn't say up their arse, but they were more, oh, you shouldn't be buying clones, you should support um, the creator. But once they're all gone, how do you support that creator other than buying their next mod that comes out, if you know what I mean? But some stuff that I've got now is authentic. I mean, I can't complain. I am actually grateful now that mech mods are more accessible and more affordable. It's different with your high-end stuff. With your high-end stuff, you are going to be spending a lot of money on stuff. You've got loads of creators out there, Monarchy being one of them. You know, they're expensive, but you need to also have the money to do so as well. But like I say, I always try and source authentics. So we're coming up to 3 hours now, so I'm going to stop waffling on. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks to everybody that has joined today. Thanks for everybody that's interacted. I do appreciate it. Big love to you all. You know, I can't express how much it means to me. People that have come in today, I am live every week, every Wednesday, 8 o'clock UK time or GMT +1 summertime. So if this is the sort of content that you like, please join me next week. Please consider subscribing, liking and sharing as well. And I love what I do. I don't do it for fame. I don't do it for having loads of subscribers or loads of viewers. I do it because this is my passion, basically. This is my passion. And it's what I do. And I wanted to do something completely different and try and educate people and also help people or anybody that's interested in building or interested in getting into mech mods and stuff like that. I try and help people and advise people as well. So, like I say, I'll keep it there. I won't carry on waffling on. I appreciate each and every one of you that has joined up today and has interacted. I do appreciate it. Thank you, Helder. Thank you, KJ, and everybody else. Steve, Vaping Brummy, Vaping Bick, Dave Watman, all of you, Hanky Panky, everybody. And shout out to the hashtag replay crew that I'll get this on the replay. I appreciate you and love you all. And thanks for joining. I will see you next week. And like I say, please consider subscribing, liking, and even sharing. So I've got a few clicks before I go off. So this is my last click. So thank you guys, and I appreciate you and love you all. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next week on the next one. I'll see you soon, guys. Thank you.